We have details of these and some other stories coming your way shortly. This bulletin is live on DSTV channel 279. We are also streaming across the world on Facebook at TV3 Ghana. Do join us with your thoughts and your comments. Let's take the details now. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has announced an increase in utility tariffs effective September 1 following the quarterly adjustment process. Electricity tariffs would go up by 4.22% and water by 1.18%.
Regulatory quarterly review mechanism aims to track and incorporate changes in key factors determining natural gas, electricity and water tariffs. The Commission approved a 4.22% increase in average end-user electricity tariff for non-lifeline residential customers and a 1.18% increase for all other water customer groups. There is, however, no increment for lifeline, industrial and non-residential customers like hairdressing, barbering, tailoring, dressmaking, cold stores and other small and medium-scale businesses. In the second quarter, electricity tariff was increased to 18.36%, up from 11.33% in the first quarter.
NDC minority lawmakers will meet with the police to discuss their protest calling for the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Ernest Addison, to be fired. The MP for Boko Central, Mahama Ayarga, claims that he is more dissatisfied with the Governor of the Bank of Ghana's comments on the decision to proceed with the building of over $200 million new headquarters.
Indeed, the answers just further saddened me. I feel very sad for Ghana. I feel very sad that we have people like that at the helm of affairs of very critical state institutions. He says that because banks like EcoBank, Zenith Bank, all these banks in town are building iconic head offices for their operations, then he as governor and his deputies must also build a super iconic headquarters building for the comfort of the workers there and to project the power and image of the central bank. I find that very, very unacceptable because the commercial banks put up those structures as part of their branding and marketing strategies because they are competing with each other for customers. And they will have to exude confidence to those customers. The Bank of Ghana, the central bank, is a regulator established by law. Its powers are defined by law. It is not a commercial entity. It doesn't need an edifice to project its power and image. All it needs is disciplined, honest workers. The question really is, how many workers are in that building? We know the bank has other buildings that host some of their workers. So if you decide that that particular building has developed structural problems, and I don't believe them, I don't trust anything that they have said about the structural integrity of the building. Other governments worked in that building and produced better results than what he is doing now. And they did not express any fear in terms of their safety in relation to work within that building.
Meanwhile, some economists have described the responses by the Governor of the Bank of Ghana for embarking on building a new office as unsatisfactory. They indicated the central bank has failed the country with its conduct.
The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Ernest Addison, on Monday agreed the project would not have been a priority if the decision was to be taken at this time. Economist Dr. Patrick Esuming says the project should continue.
When you hold the project, there could be potential decay. We don't know the quality or the security specifications of whatever is being committed to. So, from my point of view, I think that the project should be completed. But if we feel that there should be reforms going forward, so that whenever the central bank wants to undertake such a huge project, it requires parliamentary approval or other processes should be kicked in. That is where we should pay attention to, not necessarily to halt the current project that is on.
For Professor Godfrey Bokpin of the University of Ghana Business School, the governor's explanation is not satisfactory.
The conduct of Bank of Ghana has been suboptimal, and I think that they have contributed largely to the current crisis also, If you look at the posture of the central bank from towards the end of 2021, the accommodating position of the central bank in itself encouraged the government to overspend. As a central bank, I think the leadership more or less failed to preserve the institution.
Away from the Bank of Ghana, Niger has been suspended from participating in all activities of the African Union and its organs and institutions until restoration of constitutional order. The AU has also endorsed sanctions imposed by ECOWAS, expressing its support for diplomatic efforts to return Niger to constitutional rule. My colleague Martin Esidu Date has more on the AU statement.
The Council of the African Union has requested an assessment of the economic, social and security implications of deploying a standby force into Niger. It is the latest twist in the tale of whether or not to send troops into Niger. One of the main aims of the AU's Agenda 2063 is to silence the guns and ensure a peaceful environment for economic growth and development. The African Union believes that recent coups, especially within the West African sub-region, is eroding efforts to set the continent on the right footing for economic growth. The Security Council of the African Union has called on all member states and the international community to reject what it calls the illegal regime in Niger and has requested the AU Commission to submit a list of all members of the military junta in Niger and their supporters for targeted sanctions and also for individual punitive measures. Although ECOWAS sanctions against Niger are supported by the AU, they are also calling for a more humane way of dealing or rolling out and implementing these sanctions.
All multilateral institutions know this, that when you place sanctions on a country, that the first principle of humanitarian engagement is to do no harm, in which you ensure that the weakest people in that country are not disproportionately affected by the sanctions regime. So I'm also hoping that with all these mistakes going round, that a new letter will come from the UN system. ECOWAS will be more amendable to a softer sanctions regime, allowing ordinary people to get access to electricity, food, and the medications that they need.
Professor Kwesi Enin further cautioned against international interests on the continent as a result of these coups.
I know there are some countries in Europe who have calculated their national interest to mean the destruction of Niger and the weakening of ECOWAS and the sub-region. My reading of the situation is that we have seen through those tactics and strategies, and we will not allow that to happen.
A recent video of Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, a group strongly affiliated to Russia, has been seen in Africa, where they say they are allegedly conducting a reconnaissance. Russian flags were seen flying during the coup in Niger, and there are reports of their strong presence in the Central African Republic. The AU advises the military junta in Niger to prioritize its interest in protecting the sovereignty and integrity of Niger and return to their barracks.
Let's head to South Africa now. Ghana may face a decision on joining the BRICS forum made up of 5 countries. Its 15th annual summit in South Africa is aimed to expand its presence and break away from the dollar's dominance in the global economy. While 40 countries have expressed interest, it remains uncertain whether Ghana will join or not. My colleague Judith Awachitando reports.
There's a mad rush for countries who are seeking to join BRICS, with about 40 countries already making enquiries and 20 countries making formal requests to become members. It raises questions about why so many countries are in a hurry to earn full membership. Well, let's delve deeper into 2 reasons. First, it's clear the amount of influence that BRICS countries exude remains a major factor in determining reasons why it's now hot cake for most countries. BRICS countries occupy 42% of the world population, representing 20% of global trade. So why won't others want to join? Well, secondly, BRICS offers a safe haven from potential risks on reliance on the dollar.
This is already happening. Russia and India are doing trade using local currencies. India has signed agreements with over 18 countries to trade with those countries using local currencies. Now, the analysis there that you must make, or the distinction, or you must connect the dots. If more countries were to trade using local currencies, the impact on that one currency that you were talking about that is up to now defined global trade is going to be huge.
Ghana is not part of the countries seeking to join BRICS, although it trades more with BRICS nations compared to the USA.
Africans in particular should be excited about the opportunities that BRICS avails to our continent.
But let's not forget that leading more to BRICS will affect Ghana's important relations with the West, and that certainly would not be in Ghana's interests. Judith Awachitando, TV3 News, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Back to Ghana in the Upper East region, 2 young men have been shot dead in Bazua in the Bindure district of the Upper East region. The deceased were shot at different locations within the Bazua market.
The first deceased was reportedly standing with others at the roadside at Bazua when an unknown gunman opened fire at them. The deceased was unfortunately hit, leading to the group taking to their heels in fear. The assailants pursued the deceased to about 100 meters from where they were standing and shot him again, leading to his instant death. According to eyewitnesses, the assailants, on their way back, suspected a tailor who was in his shop close by might have seen them, hence they opened fire on him as well, killing him instantly. The incident reportedly lasted for about 15 minutes. Residents who spoke off camera said the attackers were 3 in number and were firing indiscriminately into the air. The situation has put residents in fear, but they have vowed to fish out the perpetrators. Security has since been beefed up in the area to restore calm. In a related development, 2 people were shot in Boku about the same time on Monday by unknown gunmen. One of the victims died instantly and the other receiving treatment at the hospital.
Still within the northern sector of the country, the medical superintendent at the Wa Municipal Hospital has told the Wa Circuit Court that 9 of the 12 victims he examined suffered sexual abuse. Dr. Hassan Mohammed Mubarak was given evidence in the multiple defilement case against the 35-year-old MC Ahmed Rashid, a.k.a. Anata, on Tuesday.
The accused has been placed in prison detention since the last hearing on Friday, August 18. He was still acting without counsel. The medical officer at the Wa Municipal Hospital, Dr. Al-Hassan Muhammad Mubarak, was the first expert witness that the prosecution called. He told the court that 3 of the 12 alleged victims of the defilement he examined have their hymens intact. One of the 3, he added, confided in him that she was able to flee the accused. The 9 others, in the opinion of Dr. Al-Hassan, experienced varying degrees of sexual penetration that resulted in broken hymens. The medical officer was responding to 3 of the 5 docket on the defilement case.
And what the victims told the doctor, that some said they had 5 encounters, others said multiple times, others have forgotten the number. That's what the medical doctor did today. He testified in respect of the 2 dockets, and we have adjourned those cases to Friday for the investigator, and that will be the state's last witness.
Dr. Al-Hassan Muhammad Mubarak is anticipated to return for his last session with the court on Wednesday.
Back to the capital, Accra, the 2 lactating mothers granted bail on August 8 in the Cecilia Dapa residence theft case remain in police custody due to the failure to meet their bail conditions. Sarah Ajay and Christiana Chap were each granted a bail of 1 million cedis with 3 sureties and were to deposit their Ghana cards with the court registrar.
The said accused person in the theft of monies belonging to former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Abnadapa has been granted a 300,000 bail with 3 sureties by the Accra Circuit Court. He is alleged to have acted together with a fifth accused person in the case, Christina Echab, to purchase a 4-bedroom house at Kokrobite at a cost of 280,000 cedis from the stolen monies. State prosecutors on Tuesday, August 22, prayed for a 2-week adjournment from the court in order to mop up investigations in the case, alleging some $1 million and 300,000 euros theft at the residence of Madame Cecilia Dapa. The pleas of the 7 persons charged with various stealing offences were not taken, as the prosecution noted that the investigations are in the concluding stages. The accused persons, Patience Buche, Sarah Ejay, Benjamin Soa, Malik Dauda, Christina Echab, Job Pomari, and Yaya Sumaila, are facing 14 counts of stealing, among other charges. Counsel for the 6th accused person, Job Pomari, prayed for bail, which was not opposed by the prosecution. Assistant State Attorney Akosia Ejapoma Ajiman told the court that investigations regarding Job Pomari had been concluded. Presiding Judge Ifya Osuo Apia granted the bail of 300,000 cedis with 2 sureties to be justified. The sureties, the court said, should be within the jurisdiction of the court, and the accused should also deposit his passport at the registry. He is also to report to the police once every 2 weeks until further notice. The case has been adjourned to September 5. Lodi Rasari, TV3 News, Accra.
The Omanhene of the Doma traditional area of Sajefo Osiadio, Dr. Ajiman Bedu II, has asked the public not to misconstrue his comments on national issues as indulgence in partisan politics. He made the comments when members of the Ghana Union Association at Caserta, Italy, presented a citation to honor him for his many years of dedication, contributions to national development and commitment as the Omanhene of the Doma traditional area.
Okasa edrubabi ana akwaya tese binum beji di se odi otanaba ne bi oteso menkase media nya angel.
I will continue to speak against national issues and decisions which are not healthy to the development of Ghana. I am not claiming to be an angel, but my comments on national issues are to remind duty bearers to always take right decisions in the interest of the people. I don't do politics. What I ask for is for us to correct wrongs using the appropriate means. Whether the president, ministers, or any other authority, if you have an opinion to share, do that without insults. It promotes democracy and national development.
Let's do labor-related stories now. Leadership of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAC, says its inability to meet the Education Minister on Monday was not deliberate. The association is, however, unfazed with a decision by the ministry to freeze their August salary.
Embarked on an indefinite strike on August 1 to push government to redeem its promise of implementing the negotiated conditions of service. Government has failed to comply with the National Labour Commission's arbitral award orders for the Education College tutors since May 2023. The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has written to the Controller and Accountant General's Department to halt payment of salaries to striking members of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana.
It's not about we people wanting to run down the system, but it's we people asking for fairness and equity. That has been the issue. To recall that in 2018, when we were starting with the B.Ed program, we started with this same action because we felt we needed to also talk about our conditions of service then and all of that. Our salary got frozen, and eventually we got what we wanted. We did written back to the Honorable Minister pleading that he considers holding the meeting online with us. And we didn't have any response from him.
CTAG will meet with the NLC on Wednesday, August 30, to look at the way forward. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Let's do international news now. A group of 161 Nigerians have been repatriated from Libya as part of a voluntary UN-supported scheme, the AFP news agency reports. They arrived on a flight from Tripoli at the airport in the main city of Lagos on Monday, it says. They included 75 women and 6 children who had been held in detention facilities in Libya. Libya's interior minister was quoted as saying that 102 of those repatriated had been stopped at the border between Libya and Tunisia. Libya is a major but deadly migrant route for Africans seeking to illegally cross over to Europe via the Mediterranean Sea. An official at Nigeria's embassy in Libya confirmed the AFP that the migrants had not been forced to return to home.